Why I unsubscribed from World of Warcraft. This is going to be a bit of an interesting video. It's something I've been having in a thought for a while, and it is kind of depressing really, because I love the World of Warcraft franchise just like I love Warhammer Fantasy. I grew up with it, I grew up with the RTS games. I love World of Warcraft, or at least I did. I played it like religiously for years really. And while I'm still unsubscribed, I still check up on news and all that. I still play like Warcraft 3, as you can see in the footage on the screen. And it's just been bothering me lately. So I figured I could do a little video and talk about it. Maybe I'm not the only one, I guess. But regardless, I figured it would be a good idea. And some of the other people who support the channel locally said I should do so. So without further ado, let's begin. I've loved the Warcraft franchise almost as much as I've loved the Warhammer Fantasy franchise. It's been a part of my life for many years, and honestly, to say that it's gone for me is kinda tough. But that being said, after many years of playing, constant bad and horrible changes, and basically poor management on Blizzard's behalf, maybe it's a bit of Activision, it's really unknown how much they really have their claws into it, I finally had to unsubscribe. So let me just give you some backstory. I pretty much got into the Warcraft universe via the Tides of Darkness game, and I've loved it ever since. Warcraft 3, I played it a lot and still play it for this day. And then obviously World of Warcraft came out and I played it practically religiously. I would skip school, I would ignore events, family events and stuff like that, because I just wanted to play. It was a little bit of a universe where I could escape to. And I'd made many friends over the years, some of which we still stay in contact today and play other games and so on, but then stuff started changing. I started playing in vanilla, as most people did, so I'm not just using this to go, oh yeah, I'm an old veteran and stuff like that, but it's more of the case of that was where I started. As soon as it launched in EU, it's when I started playing. I made a Orc Warlock, Gorbag his name was, I still remember his name, I haven't touched him in years, and he was my favourite character. I played him all the way until the beginning of Wrath, where then I switched and so on, but I just absolutely fell in love with the game. There was a world to explore, there were quests to do, there was so much to get done, and the game itself was hard, yes, for me, because I was, 12 at the time, and I didn't understand it. That was my very first MMO, but I felt a sense of pride to be part of the Horde, to fight under Thrall's name, and so on and so forth. I joined the guild, we raided, we leveled together, we did dungeons, we just basically went through Skolomance over 100 times I think to get me the Dreadmist helm. There was so much to do, and we generally felt quite close. Having our own, I think it was a Ventrilo or TeamSpeak server, it was a lot of teamwork, and we all felt closer as friends because of it, to the point that we were all messaging each other on private email, MSN and all that stuff. It was just really cool. At least by my standing point, being a 12-year-old who had met so many friends. I didn't really have a lot of friends growing up, and I just wanted to be a part of this community. Vanilla for me was the high point of World of Warcraft, and yes, the game was incredibly flawed, and I'm not defending Vanilla whatsoever. There were a lot of bugs, nothing seemed to work. The Warlock rotation was essentially 2 spells? If that, maybe just Shadow Bolt? But I didn't want to play anything else. I wanted to play the stereotypical warlock who had to harvest souls and use those souls to summon demons and, just cause as much chaos as possible. Essentially, I just wanted to be Gul'dan. And I think that's why I made the Orc Warlock, because I wanted to be Gul'dan. The name was cheesy, but I took that from one of the Orcs of Warhammer Fantasy and, or was it 40k? It could be one of the both. But I just wanted to have a stereotypical Orc and just played and just did as much as I could. I loved seeing everything that was in the Warcraft 3 and Warcraft 2 universes just made into 3D aspects in terms of actually being able to explore it all. I spent most of my free time in the game when I wasn't prepping for raids, just exploring. I wanted to see Hyjal, and I had to do the whole wall jumping mechanic. I wanted to see, just everything, really. I made an alliance also, so I could see their cities too, and I remember just having my breath taken away that very first time I walked into Stormwind. It was absolutely amazing. And I was tempted by the alliance aesthetic, but I wanted to be pure and loyal to the Horde. Just as quickly as Vanilla came, so did it leave, and then we ended up with the Burning Crusade. Probably my favourite expansion due to the lore and not only seeing new races join us, like the Blood Elves for the Horde and the Draenor for the Alliance, but seeing Paladins fight alongside the Horde, and going into Outland to fight the Fell Horde. I remember the first time I saw that cinematic where you see Illidan Stormrage. You know, I always admired him in Warcraft 3 because I thought, yeah, he was an edgelord, but he was a complete badass edgelord. Still, my guild continued, and we managed to down a bit of content. Not so much that we considered ourselves big raiders, but I did manage to see Black Temple a little bit, all while still exploring and finding so much joy in this game. The flying mounts made it look cooler. I could finally fly with a dragon. I always wanted a dragon. I could finally just explore to my heart's content. And there were loads of secrets hidden around the Burning Crusade expansion. The hidden babysitter who ate the babies, I can't remember what her name is right now. You know, all this different stuff where it was hidden away and you could access it with flying mount and so on. And it was really, really awesome. I'll never forget basically spending days trying to farm those eggs for the Netherwing stuff. My god, that was just so much work, but it was so worth it. It was absolutely worth it. The Burning Crusade went, and the Wrath of the Lich King began. And this is pretty much where everything started dying. So, everything went on as usual. Everyone leveled up, prepared their characters, and so on. I rolled a new character because I really wanted to play a Death Knight. I thought they were cool, and to be honest, I always thought Arthas was awesome too, so I was like, well, I can't play as Illidan, but we can play as Arthas, in a very similar sense. So I was like, yeah, okay, I'll make one, and I'll make a tank this time. I wanted to try tanking, and I know that Death Knights back then had a lot of variety in their class. Yeah, it was pretty much free tank specs, but you could tank them differently. It was here that the guild started having issues. Obviously, the content was a little harder, we had the hard mode introduced, I believed, in Wrath of the Lich King, and we tried, but there was not a lot of succeeding. We did clear as much as we could, and eventually we did down the Lich King, but that's when people started to leave. It became a bit of a hassle. Everyone was like, well, we spent a lot of time on this game, and, well, the Lich King is dead, what else is there? The guild started to die out, which is natural after, 6 years? And, well, I started to get a little bored. But still I persisted. At that point, I rolled Alliance, and I started doing PvP. I was not very good at it, but I tried the PvP at least. And I carried on PvPing until the release of Cataclysm, to which I played a Worgen Warrior, I think, for a little while, before switching to a Human Paladin, because I thought that would be kind of cool. Then realizing paladins weren't really my thing, and I just hated healing, so I switched back to a human warrior for a while. It is important to note that I did change, and a bunch of friends changed with me, so I wasn't going off alone. We found a new guild, made many friends, and just continued. All in all, I quite liked Cataclysm because, well, it was different. They changed everything, so all the stuff that I grew up on had been radically changed, and there was new things to explore in my mind. I leveled up a Horde again, I leveled up an Alliance, and I was just able to enjoy the content. I didn't really get to raid much in Cata, but hey, that was fine, because at the end of the day, I was just playing it for fun. I was pretty much a casual at this point, but I loved the game regardless. There would still be endless hours of playing. Yeah, at this point I did manage to get a bit of a social life and started going out, having relationships and so on, but I still loved the game, and pretty much it was a big part of me. And I carried on, I tried to see as much as I could, even with how life was changing, you know, I was becoming an adult at this point, I was getting a job and all that, but still, regardless of all that, World of Warcraft was still a magical place for me. And I will say it was still magical even with the release of Mists of Pandaria. I was one of those people who welcomed Mists of Pandaria. I really loved it. I thought it was awesome. I loved the aesthetic. I knew about the Pandaren from Warcraft 3, so I thought it would be really cool to see something different. A neutral race too, so I thought it would be a bit later where you get to pick, like round about level 60, you'd be shown a lot more, but hey, it was about level 10 to 15 instead. Either way, we know it was pandering to the Asian market, and hey, it sold well, didn't it? It was a decent expansion, the lore was fun, and yeah, there was a few things which were like, you can tell it was just comic relief, but hey, it was generally quite good. We ended up getting a lot of cool content patches, I joined the new raid again, and I finally started raiding. We were there with a bunch of friends. Apologies for all the noises, by the way, my cat is deciding to just attack a plastic bag. But without digressing too much, I honestly enjoyed it. There were really cool raids, the whole stuff with the Black Dragonflight coming back, technically with Wrathion just rearing his head. There was a lot of really cool things. But this is where the game started to die for me. I'm not sure if I'm correct with making this assumption, but content patches were slower, and there was less to them. Then obviously we had Siege of Orgrimmar, which was itself an incredible raid, but not 1 year and a half incredible. Great developers like Ghostcrawler ended up leaving or getting fired, I'm not too sure what happened there, and we saw a lack of content for a long time. And obviously, then we got Warlords of Draenor, which everyone originally was really hyped up, including myself. I was like, wow, this is amazing, we're going to go see Outland before it was destroyed, there's going to be a lot of important lore characters, and all we got was essentially a mobile game for an expansion. Literally it. Everyone's complaining about Diablo Immortal and so on, and we already had that for World of Warcraft. I honestly tried to like the expansion, I played as much as I could, but less and less each day. I do have to be honest though, because I didn't want to play a mobile game, I wanted to do stuff, but I was messaging people and they'd just be stuck at their garrisons. I joined another guild, and still it was the same thing. I joined the guild after that, and still it was the same thing. It was horrible. I barely played, I tried, but I barely played, and I lost a bit of interest. That being said, when Legion was announced, the interest peaked up once again. It looked really cool, and I think most of us, if not all of us, can agree that Legion was probably the best content they've released so far. It was an incredible expansion, the world quest system was awesome, the lore was awesome, there were many cool raids, it was really fun to play. It was there where I've met a new guild, going back to the Horde once again. Being that stereotype, I did roll a Demon Hunter, because as stated before, I thought that Illidan was a badass, so I thought, well, maybe I can be one too. There was a new guild, some returning friends, some new friends, and hey, it was super cool. Everything went out well, we raided, we went up to, I think, some heroic stuff. I don't think we managed to clear much on Mythic, but hey, at this point we were casuals and we were enjoying it. I was having a lot of fun, these guys were all really close friends, and it was really nice to be welcomed into the community. And let's face it, at this point, it's pretty much rare to see, because a lot of guilds will just run Mythics by themselves or whatever, they'll just be all closed up. Legion ended and Battle for Azeroth came, and I was excited because I was in a guild, and it felt great to be in a guild that everyone kind of had a say and worked together. I was actually running the guild at this point. There was a few things, and eventually they promoted me to leader. We had a little bit of a council leading everyone. It felt great. But then BFA became a disappointment. They literally just rehashed everything that worked from Legion. Nothing new came from it. Yeah, we had allied races, but that was not really new content. I was expecting a proper overhaul of, like, the world quests. I was expecting content. I literally ran through the 3 zones that you have as Horde, and I think by the 2nd zone I was 120. I didn't feel the need to quest. I didn't feel the need to explore. It was mind-blowing. To say the least, it was literally mind-blowing. It was just like, yeah, get to 120, do the grind, just run up, and level up your artifact. It's like, well, we did that last expansion. Can you not give us something new? But still, nothing really happened, and then you ended up with developers going on tirades like Josh, who pretty much just blamed other people instead of blaming Blizzard. I think Metzen, who at this point wasn't, like, representing the company whatsoever, just having a tirade too. And then just Blizzard lost sight with its fans, and it was heartbreaking for me, at least, because, well, I'd invested so many years into this game at this point, and I expected to invest many more. Yet, no content, no news, slow development patches, and just shitty lore, to be very frank, where everything was just ignored, and they killed off important characters, and they pretty much just destroyed everything. It went to the point that we were basically just seeing another Horde Warchief get killed off, because, well, why not? Such an important character like Sylvanas just being killed off at this point after losing Vol'jin, Thrall technically, and then Garrosh, which, yeah, fine, he wasn't a big character, but he was still cool. it felt like they were just running out of ideas, to be honest. And let's face it, it looks like they're running out of ideas once again. Like the Zandalari came in, and a lot of people were taught to fear them because of myths and so on. And then what happened? Oh yeah, they just bowed down. Wakanda forever. Sorry, Zandalar forever. It's like, you guys have turned the game more into a meme than a fantasy universe. And it's disappointing. It got to the point that, well, I was just no longer having fun. I was seeing a game which took itself quite, like, lore-friendly and serious, and yeah, there were comedic sense, but you know what I mean, where stuff was consistent, and then everything just went, let's turn it into a meme. And then it just went worse. We had the Diablo Immortal announcement. Before that, we had the whole you think you do but you don't thing for Classic, which obviously that didn't work too well because they ended up announcing Classic. And I'm not going to talk about the Classic debacle because I'll get angry, and let's face it, this is supposed to be from my heart type of thing, and I just don't want it to be all rage, because if I'm going to be really honest, I think Classic is going to fail. I might do a video on this when I get back from my trip. As you guys know, I'm recording these videos in advance because I'm going off for a few days, but it's going to fail. Like, people who didn't play Classic are going to go and realize that the game is really buggy, and if no changes means no changes actually stays, then you know. They'll probably just start adding in more content because they'll RuneScape it, which, let's face it, a lot of people don't want content. I want to go back to kind of relive the glory days, but not to see new stuff. And even then, thanks to Blizzard becoming a joke amongst themselves, I don't really want to play Classic anymore. And given all the becoming a meme, I finally unsubscribed from World of Warcraft. I honestly felt no more enjoyment in the game. I just didn't feel any enjoyment in the game anymore, and it was a shame. I'm doing this video just pretty much to rant a little bit, to be honest, because I put a lot of years into that. It's the same thing with, obviously, Games Workshop killing off Warhammer Fantasy. But yeah, they had their reasons, because obviously Warhammer Fantasy wasn't making money, or whatever they want to say. But Blizzard itself was making money. And I think they got comfortable. They were so comfortable that people were still playing and paying for garbage at this point that it just happened. And that's the problem. We should have been a lot more vocal about it. Yeah, people were going, oh yeah, we're vocal, we were on the forums and stuff like that. But no, more people should have been more vocal. Yeah, I understand we have people like Asmongold who's like been very vocal about it, and yeah, I'm a big fan of him. Yeah, he has been very vocal and he's led his community to do a lot of things, but in the end, he's just one dude. Yeah, a dude with loads of fans and so on, but even then, it's just very disappointing. I'm not saying that my video is going to do anything like that's all. You've seen my video counts. I don't really get a lot of people, but it was more the case of I just really wanted to vocalize something. And if someone from Blizzard does see this, like, you killed your own game. That's all I can say. It was you guys. Don't do a Games Workshop and blame the fans, yeah? And I'm hoping for the future, whatever the new expansion is called, probably Warlords of Draenor 2 Electric Boogaloo, I hope it works out, and I hope it gets fans back in. I hope it gets me back in, but only if you guys actually create something that's worth it. And I'm not saying create Classic again, I'm saying create content. Create something meaningful and not just, here you go, radio silence. But with that, my friends, we've come to the end of our video. Thank you so much for watching. Once again, I am away for a few days, so I will reply to everyone in the comments below if there's any, or in the other videos, because obviously we've got scheduled content from the usual Warhammer stuff. As soon as I get back, I will try to reply when I'm away, but I'm a little bit swamped with a lot of things at the moment, because obviously I'm at a festival, getting internet coverage is a bit difficult, and hey, I'm trying to enjoy some live bands for once. But with that, my friends, I shall see you all again very soon, and I hope you all have a lovely day.